Hello everybody, it's Sunday Million Final Table time once again on PokerStars TV. This edition covers the 12th of June Million with 6,889 runners generating a prize pool just under 1.4 million, destroying the $1 million guarantee. Let's have a look at the runners and riders. Here are your final table lists. And Pato Rojas, player from Chile, would be your chip leader starting things off. Very international flavour to the leaderboard. A couple of Swedes and a couple of Germans. But they are the short stacks looking to move up. We'll start the action on hand number 9. And 125, 250,000 are the blinds. So a little bit deeper stack than we sometimes see the Million Final Table. We'll see how this plays out. I'm Nick Wealthall. Great to be back with you for another exciting Million Final Table. My case will open it up. That is loose to say the least. The old Jack-7 offsuit for the Portuguese player. Tough to make that one work. We'll see if he can. Could be that the table's playing really tight. That's possible. He might have picked up on that. I think he can take some free money. And Jakey LOL 3-bets him. Well, that's a little bit clairvoyant, isn't it? Perhaps he's been playing with my case for a while during this tournament, knows he's capable of opening trash, and with the stacks the way they are, well, my case could set Jakey in, but it would be a bold move because Jakey's rarely doing what he actually is doing, ironically, which is making a move. Mike's thinking about it, though. Doesn't want to give this up. Thinking about the superstar play. But eventually folds. And if he was thinking about pulling the trigger on that when he sees this highlight show, he will groan inside. Jakey with the well-timed 3-bet steal. Gets his final table off on a good note. Blinds have gone up as we watch hand 17. 150,000, 300,000 now. 3-2-1 gentleman. Slightly confusing name. With 3-2-1 you'd expect an explosion and then it's all quite polite. 3-2-1 polite gentleman. Player from Germany sitting on a shortish stack. Not involved in this one. We're going to have a blind battle. Jakey LOL. We'll double the blinds. This is one of those where, I don't know, Queen 6 with those stacks, folding is allowed. He's going to get 3-bet, and it's the same old problem, isn't it? Now what? Jakey may not believe, and doesn't believe, puts in the small 4-bet, and Sucker Fish from the UK gets a little bit levelled on that one. Good aggression by Jakey. The Swedish player, clearly very, very aggressive pre-flop. On we go. The very next hand, blind still the same. And your chip leader, Pato Rojas, with a pretty looking hand. You're allowed to muck it though. Don't think that just because it's good looking you have to get involved. If only I could have learned that lesson years ago. My case with pocket 4s. Now this is a pair. You have to get involved. It's a pair. You still don't. You still don't have to get. No, he has. He has. My case opens it up. And Thorup, well, he had him covered. Dominated with the 5s. But no action. Now this is a spot for Slurp to make a decision. 10 big blinds and hand with some value. That is the mandatory shove. If he does get cooled by my case, he is going to be flipping, which I guess he would have to take at this stage of the game. Jakey has folded. Suckerfish presumably is playing other tables or has gone to get a cup of tea or feed the cat or throw the cat out or go and buy a cat. That's less likely. But he does fold. My case with the decision, 2.5 million-ish, and he does make the call. So we're going to be racing for Slurp's tournament life. And that's not too much help, but he can catch a jack now to make Broadway, as well as his king or queen. Needs to hit this river, or Slurp will be our 9th place finisher. And the 9 of clubs is no help. So in my case, wins a nice pot, and we'll take the chip lead on that hand. Slurp is licked in that one. See what I did there? Swedish player wins $10,677. And we're 8-handed in the million as we close in on the big money. It's all big money, isn't it? Let's remind ourselves that it's a 200 plus 15 buy-in, and even less if you satellited in. So when you're guaranteed $16,500 for 8th spot and up, pretty nice position to be in for these guys, but they'll all have their eyes on the big money. And of course the title, it's tough to win a Sunday million, a nice thing to have on your CV, as well as the cash. Thorup 1 will open the button here. Both players with the same hand. Seraph will 3-bet. And Thorup with the decision. It's been fun to watch over the last few years how the button and blinds positions have just turned into these huge levelling battles. People trying to steal and re-steal. But this is a pretty conventional re-steal from Seraph. Gets Thorup to fold the same hand. And he's over 10 million. Still at the 150-300 level. This is hand 26. And a couple of decent hands out. And this one could be good news for Seraph. Always good news to have kings at a final table, of course. You just pray to get some action. It's folded around to him in the cutoff. Seraph 14 from Slovakia. Amazing just how international online poker is. Just covered the scoop and there were close to 200 countries represented. Amazing. Suckerfish with the ace-queen, and, well, tough for him to get away from this one. He probably, well, he shouldn't be getting away. He should be trying to get money in against a cut-off open. He doesn't know that he's up against the second best starting hand in Hold'em trademark, Pocket Kings. Small ball 4-bet from Seraph, but, I mean, the way the stacks are, he could just have set Suckerfish in. Suckerfish does put the money in. Seraph just has to call and now has to try and hold. Suckerfish fighting for his life here. It's 11.5 million in the middle, so this is a big pot at this stage of the game. And a queen on the flop gives Suckerfish a couple more outs. And now Seraph doesn't want to make a set. Suckerfish looking to hit the river. 4 of diamonds is a miss. The king's hold. It's never easy, but Seraph 14 gets them home. Suckerfish has to go home. The UK player takes $16,500 for 8th. And we're 7-handed, trucking along. Hand 34 and the blinds have gone up. 200,000, 400,000. My case will double that to 800,000. Jakey 3-bet him last time he opened in early position, but this time gets out of the way. It's all about time, isn't it, this game? And maths. Playing the player. Game flow. Meta game. There's a lot of moving parts, to be honest. It's not easy to summarise in a 28-minute highlight show. Pato Rojas will call. We'll see a flop. And we'll see some percentages. Always a pleasure. 2 overcards and an open-ended straight draw for my case. Give him a very nice flop, but technically Pato Rojas has the best hand if they stopped everything right now with a pair of 10s. Bit of chippage to work with for these two. Pato has the effective stack, which is just under 10 million. We've only got 2 million in there so far. My case could have taken a free card. That was an option. Decides to bet it. That's not a bad option. I presume he's never folding this. Could be a big presumption, of course. Pato will just flat call. 7 of diamonds doesn't change anything. It's also not going to be particularly scary, so Pato could call the flop. I imagine he's check calling this turn. And my case could take a free card here, and he does, assuming that he's behind so far, and it works out beautifully for him. Broadway is the nuts. Pato doesn't have a hand that he can value bet and just checks. My case probably can allow himself a little value bet here, given that his hand's unbeatable. Makes it 2 million. What does Pato do here? Well, he does call. Interesting. I think that was a tough decision, because what hands is my case checking the turn and then betting that river? Is he bluffing there? I mean, he could be, I suppose. He could be bluffing the ace, but I don't know how believable it would be. I don't know. I guess Pato sees enough bluffs there. It's a close one, I think. Close decision on that river. Anyway, it's gone my case's way, and he's got the chip lead right now, over 20 million. First to 20 million wins a PokerStars towelette. That's not true. Can't back that up. It's just something I think they should introduce. Throb 1 will open the button with King 9. And, well, we've seen Jakey be aggressive pre-flop several times, and he's going to keep that going. Now, the great thing for Jakey is he hasn't had to show down those hands, but Thorup's onto him. He says, I've seen this once too many times from you, young lad. Right back at you. King 9, more than good enough, and he'll get Jakey to fold. Although he did have the best hand. Hand 41. And this time Jakey has a real hand with ace-king. So although he had to fold in that last hand, not necessarily the worst thing for his image. Doesn't have a ton of chips to work with, unfortunately. But we'll be hoping to get some action. Hoping his image works for him. Well, AA made a quick fold there with ace-deuce. Against Jakey's cut-off open, I'd have thought, and with his short stack. It's at least worth a bit of thought, that one, but decides against it. Pato Rojas may be thinking what I'm thinking. Shoving against Jakey's cut-off open. Must have a pretty big range here. Probably get a lot of folds. That's what Pato's thinking. He decides to flat call. Which is a funny one, given the chip stacks. I guess that hand was just too pretty to fold, and he didn't want to. Decided he didn't want to shove. Jakey has the best hand. Ace King still holding on this paired flop. Pato's thinking about what to do. I mean, if he leads out, I just don't know what hand he's representing. Unless it's just one of those situations where he thinks if I lead out, I can just get Jakey to fold if he doesn't have very much, because he's not going to want to bluff. But no, he does decide to check. And Jakey will bet. Pato Rojas is, you get the sense that he's had his eyes on this pot from the very beginning. There's a big thought before the flop. And yeah, he is going to try and make a move. He's going to shove on Jakey. Now, does Jakey find this believable? He doesn't. He makes a good call with the ace high. Needs it to hold. Big pot for both of these. Pato Rojas is all in. Jakey's effectively all in. 5 of diamonds changed nothing. And will Jakey be rewarded for his good call? Or can Pato Rojas get lucky? Does not. So, Jakey makes a good bet call on the flop. Was a non-believer. And we lose Pato Rojas, who makes the brave move. Comes up short in 7th. $30,000 for his great run through the tournament. Because we love you, we're going to give you the chance to have a great run through the Sunday Million for free. Tourney Free Roll, an online poker show. Free Roll is where you can find it. We'll give you the password to get in later in the show.
Growing up on the circuit, everyone wanted to offer me advice. When to bet, when to fold, when to raise, what to wear, what to eat. But there was one piece of advice that took me to a new level.
Daniel, don't do anything stupid.
At PokerStars.com, there's a tournament starting every second. Develop your game at the world's largest poker site.
Closing in.